Maple Creek was the kind of place where people left their doors unlocked, waved at neighbors they barely knew, and trusted the silence of early mornings. It was safe, predictable, comforting, which is why no one thought twice when Annie Morales, 34, laced up her running shoes, tightened her ponytail, and stepped out for her usual jog at 5:42 a.m. on a chilly October morning. She was wearing her favorite purple windbreaker, wireless earbuds, and her fitness tracker, one she used religiously. It monitored her steps, her pace, her heartbeat. But on this particular day, it would record something else, something no one could have imagined. The Morales family lived on the edge of Willow Trail, a paved path that wove through trees and dipped along the creek. A runner's dream. Annie had taken the route for years, always starting at her driveway and looping back around 45 minutes later. She called it her me time before the chaos of getting the kids ready for school. But this run would never end. At 6:48 a.m., Derek Morales, her husband, texted Annie, "Where are you? The kids are up." No response. He assumed she had stopped to talk to a neighbor. Maybe her earbuds were in. Maybe she was just taking a longer route. At 7:15, he tried calling. Straight to voicemail. By 7:45, panic was setting in. Annie was never late, never unreachable. Derek bundled the kids into the car and retraced her route. No sign of her. By 8:30 a.m., he called the police. "Detective, the search begins." Responding officers took the report seriously. Annie was a known figure in the neighborhood. PTA volunteer, part-time yoga instructor, always visible and friendly. By noon, search teams were combing the trail with dogs. Drones were sent up. Volunteers began canvassing homes with Ring doorbell footage. Then someone said it, the chilling phrase that always comes too late. "This doesn't happen here." But the trail wasn't empty. Investigators quickly retrieved data from Annie's fitness tracker, synced to her phone through the cloud. And that's when things got strange. Chart decreasing, the fitness tracker tells a story. According to the device, Annie's run began exactly at 5:42 a.m. Her pace was steady, consistent with her usual 10-minute mile. But at 6:17 a.m., something changed. Her heart rate, which had hovered between 130 to 140 BPM, suddenly spiked to 176. GPS data showed she stopped moving for approximately 22 seconds. Then she moved again, but faster. Not in a running pattern. Erratic. At 6:21 a.m., her heart rate dropped drastically, flatlining. The app registered no further activity after that. Puzzle piece, a timeline of panic. Detectives sat in stunned silence reviewing the data. It wasn't just fitness statistics, it was a digital witness. It marked her exact location, how long she stood still, when her breathing changed, and when her heart stopped. Most disturbingly, the GPS showed that after her final steps, the tracker continued moving for another 120 feet. Was someone wearing the device after her death? Speech balloon, a community on edge. Word spread fast. By the afternoon, local Facebook groups lit up with speculation. The headline, "Missing Jogger in Willow Trail," turned into, "Was Annie Morales murdered?" By evening, residents stopped letting their kids walk alone. Joggers changed their routes. The neighborhood, once confident and casual, was now gripped by fear. And through it all, Derek Morales remained stoic in front of news cameras. "I just want my wife home," he said. But something about his eyes, blank, rehearsed, made people uneasy. What no one knew yet was that the fitness tracker still had more to reveal. The GPS didn't just stop. It turned back toward the Morales home. The morning after Annie Morales was reported missing, search teams returned to Willow Trail with a renewed sense of urgency. Drones scanned the path from above. Dogs sniffed tirelessly. The neighborhood watched from behind curtains and smartphone screens, waiting for answers. At 9:14 a.m., Officer Jenna Lyle paused near a wooded dip just off the main trail. One of the bloodhounds, Baxter, had veered off, pulling frantically at the leash. Jenna followed. There, about 20 feet into the brush, she saw the flash of purple. It was Annie's windbreaker. Her body lay half-concealed beneath a pile of leaves and broken branches. She was face down, One sneaker was missing. Her fitness tracker still glowed faintly on her wrist. Brain forensics at the scene. The medical examiner arrived within the hour. Annie's body showed no obvious gunshot wounds or deep stab injuries, but there were faint bruises on her neck. Petechial hemorrhaging in her eyes suggested manual strangulation. A shallow scrape along her cheek looked fresh, as if she had fallen forward hard. Her fingernails were chipped, with bits of skin lodged beneath them, suggesting a violent struggle. There was no wallet, no phone, but her fitness tracker had continued collecting data until 6:31 a.m., precisely 10 minutes after her death. Floppy disk digital evidence speaks louder. Back at the station, detectives dove deeper into the fitness tracker data. With help from the manufacturer, they retrieved micromovement records, fine-grained data most users never even know exists. It showed microtremors in Annie's arm, recorded during the struggle. A 15-second spike in movement, inconsistent with a fall, more like a wrestling motion. Then stillness. Her heart rate dropped to 0. Yet the GPS continued tracking movement, heading back toward her home for an additional 0.07 miles. What was going on? Had the killer taken the tracker? Or worse, was someone trying to manipulate the data to throw off investigators? Movie camera, the doorbell footage that changed everything. Later that day, police received a call from a resident on Brookside Lane, just 2 streets over from Willow Trail. Her Ring doorbell camera had picked up something strange. At 6:29 a.m., a figure appeared, hooded, running. Not on the sidewalk, but cutting through yards. He sprinted past her driveway and vanished behind the Morales fence. The quality was poor, but the timestamp matched the tracker's data exactly. Investigators slowed the video. Frame by frame, they noticed something. On the runner's left wrist was a glowing band. Annie's tracker. Person standing, husband or killer. Naturally, attention returned to Derek Morales. His alibi? He claimed to have been asleep until 6:45 a.m. when he texted Annie. But phone data showed activity at 6:05 a.m. A text typed out, then deleted. He explained it away. I woke up, thought about texting her, changed my mind. I was groggy. Detectives weren't convinced. Then came the real twist. The Morales home security system had a backup cloud recording. Derek thought it wasn't working. It was. At 5:51 a.m., just 9 minutes after Annie left for her run, the garage door opened. At 6:23 a.m., it closed again. No one else lived in the house. Face screaming in fear, the community reacts. The suburb of Maple Creek, once tight-knit and untroubled, was now the epicenter of a media firestorm. Jogger found murdered. Fitness tracker may hold key clue. Husband under suspicion in shocking suburban murder. The Morales family's social media was flooded. Some defended Derek. Others branded him a killer before the trial began. But through it all, the fitness tracker's digital trail pointed in one direction. Puzzle piece, a puzzle begins to form. There were still unanswered questions. Why didn't the killer take the tracker off completely? Why run toward the Morales home? Could someone have framed Derek? One detail bothered investigators. Annie's phone was never found, until the data sync log showed a brief Bluetooth connection with a second device, one that had only ever connected in one location before, inside the Morales bedroom. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. With Annie Morales gone and her fitness tracker pointing toward foul play, detectives were racing the clock to confirm one thing. Was Derek Morales her killer, or just another suspect caught in a digital web? And then came the breakthrough. Mobile phone with arrow, a ghost signal. At 2:11 a.m. the night after Annie's body was found, her fitness tracker synced briefly to a nearby smartphone. Not Derek's, not Annie's. A third device, unregistered, unaccounted for. It was a burner phone. Investigators tracked the Bluetooth ping to one location, inside the Morales home, specifically the main bedroom. That device had only ever synced with Annie's tracker on 3 occasions, all within the last 2 weeks. Someone had been hiding it. House the hidden drawer. With a warrant in hand, detectives returned to the Morales residence. Derek stood calmly at the door, dressed neatly in sweats. His eyes were bloodshot. His tone was flat. In the bedroom, officers pulled out every drawer, flipped the mattress, inspected vents. Then, beneath the bottom panel of a bedside table, taped beneath a false drawer, they found it. A black burner phone, no lock screen. Inside were only a few messages, but they were damning. Broken heart, the secret texts. The texts were mostly deleted, but tech forensics recovered fragments. She leaves at 5:40. You have 10. Don't forget the bruises can't show. Delete everything. Burner only. And the worst, we'll finally be free. The number these texts came from? It belonged to a contact saved only as A. Not Annie. Someone else. A search of Derek's phone found no traces of this second number. But when pulled from cell tower logs, that same number had pinged hundreds of times near Derek's workplace and near the Morales house during Annie's runs. Astonished face, the other woman. Wasn't a stranger. It was Alicia Trent, Annie's best friend. She had comforted the family, helped organize the search, even stood next to Derek during a local press conference, visibly emotional. But now, text records revealed a secret relationship between Alicia and Derek. It dated back nearly a year. According to neighbors, they were often seen together on dog walks, while Annie was working late. When confronted, Alicia denied everything, until shown the burner phone. Speech balloon, Alicia cracks. Faced with irrefutable evidence, Alicia finally broke down. It wasn't supposed to happen like that. He said he'd leave her. I didn't know she would die. I swear I didn't. She admitted to buying the burner phone. But she claimed Derek had been growing paranoid, afraid Annie had discovered the affair, that she would ruin his life. What she didn't know, or pretended not to, was that Derek had been tracking Annie's every move using a cloned fitness app, syncing her data to his own device in real time. He knew where she'd be, when she'd be alone, and how far from help. Magnifying glass tilted left surveillance surprise. Investigators check security footage from Alicia's building. At 5:32 a.m. on the day of Annie's death, Alicia was seen leaving, wearing black leggings, a gray hoodie, and carrying a second phone. She returned at 7:15 a.m., looking visibly shaken. Her hands trembled as she unlocked the door. Though she denied being at Willow Trail, the fitness tracker data told another story. A brief Bluetooth sync with Annie's tracker at 6:10 a.m. She had been there at the scene. Pouting face, Derek doubles down. When detectives confronted Derek with Alicia's confession, his face remained blank. I didn't kill my wife, he said. You're just spinning a story around a couple of texts and some guesswork. But he didn't know they'd also retrieved deleted GPS logs from his smartwatch. He had walked exactly 1.2 miles between 5:54 and 6:31 a.m., the same path Annie took on her run. His excuse? I walk that trail every morning. Nothing suspicious about that. Balance scale building a case. With fitness tracker data, burner phone texts, surveillance footage, GPS logs, a secret affair. A case was coming together, but it was still circumstantial. There was no DNA, no eyewitnesses, no smoking gun. And then a forensics tech stumbled on one overlooked clue. A small audio file stored in Annie's fitness tracker's memory. It was only 17 seconds long, but what it captured would change the case forever. When investigators reviewed the 17-second audio file recovered from Annie's fitness tracker, they expected background noise, perhaps ambient sounds from her morning jog. What they heard instead made their blood run cold. Studio microphone, a dead woman's recording. The clip began with the rhythmic thud of sneakers hitting pavement. Birds chirped faintly in the distance. Then a male voice, low, cold, recognizable. Stop, don't scream. A pause. Then a muffled struggle. Fabric scraping. A gasp. Please, Derek. The audio cut out. Collision, irrefutable evidence. It wasn't just Derek's name being spoken. Experts matched the voice profile to his public statements from the televised press conference. The recording was timestamped at 6:07 a.m., precisely when Annie's heart rate had spiked and then flatlined, the same moment her location data stopped. Even the footsteps in the recording matched the GPS movement pattern. Annie had tried to run. She got about 30 feet before everything went dark. That tiny file, stored deep in the tracker's firmware, was the missing piece. Police car light the arrest. Faced with the audio evidence, burner phone logs, GPS tracking, and Alicia's partial confession, detectives moved swiftly. Derek Morales was arrested at his home, just as he was preparing breakfast for his 2 young daughters. His expression didn't change as the cuffs clicked into place. His only words, "I didn't mean for it to happen like that." Man judged the trial. The courtroom was packed. The case had drawn national attention. The fitness tracker murder. They called it in the press. Prosecutors laid out a devastating case. Motive: a secret affair and an impending divorce Annie had hinted to friends she was planning. Opportunity: Derek's precise knowledge of Annie's routine means GPS and health data that placed him at the scene. Cover-up: burner phones, deleted texts, and a staged emotional plea. Audio evidence: a recording of the attack recovered from Annie's own wrist. Derek's defense argued the audio was inconclusive, the data unreliable, and the affair irrelevant. They suggested a stranger could have attacked Annie, and that Derek's morning run was a coincidence. But the jury didn't buy it. Balance scale, the verdict. After just 5 hours of deliberation, the jury returned guilty. First-degree murder. Derek Morales was sentenced to life without parole. Alicia Trent, in a plea deal, was charged as an accessory after the fact. She served 4 years for obstruction, tampering with evidence, and lying to investigators. Candle Annie's legacy. In the wake of the trial, Annie's sister launched a foundation, Track the Truth, dedicated to using wearable tech in criminal investigations. Because of Annie's case, law enforcement across the U.S. began training on how to extract data from smart devices. Fitness trackers, smartwatches, digital assistants, tools that can now act as silent witnesses. Brain the chilling takeaway. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was planned, prepped, timed to the second, using technology that both empowered the victim and enabled the killer. Derek thought he could control the narrative. He never counted on Annie's wristband becoming his greatest enemy. The final detail? Her fitness app had a feature he forgot. Auto record when elevated heart rate is detected during rest. Even after Derek Morales was led away in shackles, the suburb of Norwalk never quite returned to normal. Annie's murder, solved by a fitness tracker and sealed by a voice recording, left more than just a family shattered. It changed how an entire town thought about privacy, love, and the eerie ways technology can speak after we're gone. Blackheart, a town forever changed. Maple Glen Park used to be just another jogging trail, a leafy shortcut between subdivisions. But after the trial, it was renamed Annie Reynolds Way. Locals placed flowers by the sign, and runners paused for a moment of silence as they passed. It wasn't just about honoring a victim. It was a reminder that danger doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it wears a wedding ring. Hammer and wrench, how the case changed law enforcement. Annie's case set a precedent across multiple states. Fitness tracker data is now admissible as forensic evidence, provided chain of custody is verified. Several departments created tech crimes units trained in wearable data analysis. The FBI released a memo encouraging collaboration between tech companies and local law enforcement for urgent access in suspected violent crimes. Even Apple and Fitbit responded. Firmware updates began including SOS recording features, auto-triggered by abnormal spikes in heart rate and movement, a feature inspired by Annie. Mobile phone, the data that told the truth. Derek Morales tried to scrub everything. He deleted the burner phone logs. He disabled his GPS. He cleared his internet searches. But he forgot about the Bluetooth ping between his burner and Annie's tracker, the step pattern match of his shoes from the recorded audio, and most damning, the auto-recording feature silently activated the moment Annie's heart rate surged as she was ambushed. Annie never got to say goodbye, but her data told the story. Family woman-girl legacy through the lens of grief. Annie's mother, Grace Reynolds, now speaks at domestic violence seminars. Her message is haunting. Annie knew something was wrong, but like many women, she hesitated. She wore her fear like a fitness goal, something she just had to push through. Annie's daughter, Layla, now 8, lives with her maternal grandparents. She often wears a pink silicone fitness band, not to track steps, but to be like mommy. Light bulb lessons we can't ignore. This case was a perfect storm of digital breadcrumbs, obsession and betrayal. A device built for wellness used to solve a murder. Derek thought he was careful. He thought he could outsmart the system. But technology didn't lie. In the end, it remembered what the victim couldn't tell us herself. Clapperboard final scene, the last ping. On the 1-year anniversary of Annie's death, her family opened the fitness tracker app on her old phone. There was an update waiting. Annie completed 7,322 steps on her final run. The app asked, "Would you like to share this milestone?" They didn't share it on social media. They shared it in court, in schools, in lectures. They shared it so no one would ever be silenced again. Brain final thought. This wasn't just a crime. It was a digital confession hidden in plain sight. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell.